Hello and welcome back, everyone. This is our second in a series of, hopefully, we're going to stretch this out over a year and maybe even longer than that. But this is our spotlight on Laurel County, her history, and her people. And today I have the privilege of being with Mr. Lawrence Kuhl. How you doing, Lawrence?
Doing fine,
Good to see you.
Glad to have you, sir.
Good to see you. And Lawrence, of course, you've been a teacher and a banker and a coach and a politician and the county judge and so many things. And we'll get into some of the evolution of where that all has transpired to as we go forward here. But tell us about when you actually got to London, Laurel County. You're not originally from here, but you've been here a long time.
Right.
And when did you get here, and how were things compared to today when you arrived?
Well, Kip, of course, Don and I lived in Middlesboro, and I graduated from Georgetown College in 1960 and went to Middlesboro and coached 4 years and was in education. Mm-hmm. And we moved here on July the 24th, 1964.
Okay.
And we've been here ever since, raised our 2 boys here. Mm-hmm. When we came here, I came here as the high school football coach, and Mr. W.B. Hall was superintendent. And
which school was that at?
This was at London Independent School District.
Okay, right.
It's a city school, and then of course the county schools were.
But you came as a football coach for London School.
Yes, for London School, and of course knowing Coach Boland, and of course Mr. Hall asked him to contact me to see if I would be interested in his football job here, and I came for the interview, and of course they hired me, and so. We love London and Laurel County in southeast Kentucky, and very proud to live here. And
well, you know, London and Laurel County embraced you all and your family, but you certainly have embraced it as well. Certainly. You know, you would never know you weren't always here. You know, in my recollection, you have always been here. You know, I was born in 1965, and you know, funny story, funny aside, I guess, to all this, Donna was my lunch lady at London Elementary School.
Right.
Yeah. For years, I went to London Elementary, and she was our lunch lady there.
Oh,
so that's probably how I first got acquainted with your family. And Larry's a little older than me, and Rodney's a little younger than me. I'm right in between your boys. Yeah. But now, family obviously very important to you.
Sure.
Yeah, and you've got Rodney and Larry. And tell us about your kids and grandkids.
Well, of course, Larry was born in Middlesboro, and of course Rodney was born in Corbin. Of course, we lived here then.
Right.
And they're both married and have two children each. Larry married Marty, of course, and Rodney married Debbie Seeley. And Larry has a boy and a girl, and Matthew and Kristen. And then, of course, Rodney and Debbie has a boy and a girl, and of course Kayla Rose is the oldest one, and Marcus is the youngest.
Yeah, we're more acquainted with Marcus. Yeah,
Marcus,
he's the same age as my son.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Good.
Well, they're good kids, and we love them very much.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Close family.
And you know, one thing that led to into your coaching, from that, you coached your sons' baseball teams, and you have a certain accolade there that is very proud of, and a lot of good young men on that team. That's a bond they'll keep forever. But your team won the Little League state championship.
Yes.
When was that?
Very memorable, and of course Larry was the catcher on the baseball team. Because we had some real outstanding baseball players. Wasn't supposed to win the state championship in 1974.
Okay.
We went to St. Petersburg, Florida for the Southern region to go to the Little League World Series, and we got beat out in the semifinals by Texas, and so we were just 2 games away from going to the Little League World Series in Williamsport. And that was we stayed down there a week and really had a good experience with our kids, and they learned a lot and had some good athletes, and they went on and played in the high school, and they won
I know a lot
of
those
tournaments.
guys. Yeah, really.
That was
and
good.
Now my son has played. I'm never very athletic. My son has been, but he played with some of their kids. So the guys on that ball team you know, he played with a lot of their kids and stuff. So
well, next year will be 45 years that they won it. It's the only team that actually, Little League boys, that have won the state championship from here. But we had a lot of other teams since then have won in different age groups.
Yeah,
the Little League
most all those guys are good friends of mine. Some of them very good friends of mine, and that's a bond. Those guys will always keep that bond, you know. But so from teaching and coaching, what led you into the banking industry? And tell us something about that.
Well, I felt very good about the situation I had at London Independent School District here. And we won a lot of ball games. In fact, I was offered several jobs to leave London. And Tom Kraft asked me to come and talk about coming to work at that time it was Second National Bank.
Okay.
You asked me to reminisce a little bit about what London was like when we first come here.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And of course we could take hours and hours talking about the good people that were here and the different structures in downtown. Of course we didn't have the interstate going through here at that time.
Right.
All the traffic that went north and south was right through US 25, right through downtown.
Came down Main Street line.
And we had a lot of good people, good restaurants here. One of them was Chadwell's restaurant,
yes.
Jay Bird. And of course Jay Bird and Birdie is residents here in our facility.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, they're retired.
Awesome, yeah.
But anyway, the community was small. Population back then, I think, was about 28,000 people in the county here. Right now, it's over 60,000.
Yes,
so we had quite a bit of growth. And a lot of that is contributed to the interstate, naturally going north and south. Thousands of traffic pass through here.
Yes.
We've been very fortunate to be geographically located here in the Knobs region. Partly level and do have some
absolutely.
mountains.
We're kind of at the foothills.
Yes.
We're kind of at the foothills of the mountainous areas.
That's exactly
you know,
right.
And we are a great crossroads too, not only north and south with I-75, but east and west as well with the Parkway.
That's exactly. Yeah.
So it is, and a lot of the growth has to do with that, but a lot of it has to do with just good, solid people.
Well, of course, your people are your biggest asset.
Absolutely.
For your community, and their attitudes have to be very positive in order to move things forward and to help the people here, to bring jobs, industry in, businesses and so forth, manufacturing firms and what have you. And we've all worked together, been a big part of that, and of course the people here are continuing to try to bring jobs in. And when you do that, you increase your population, and that's what's happened over the last several years.
Absolutely.
The increase in growth here.
So we had First National Bank, obviously, and then we had Second National Bank, and I don't know if there were any other banks at that time or not. I don't know if that was the two big banking systems in Laurel County in place at that time. Second National is now Cumberland Valley, I think, maybe.
We changed our name whenever I was.
So you were there then?
I was a part of that.
That was Second National Bank.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Butch Little, of course, was our president of the bank. I have a lot of good memories of our board members that allowed me, whenever I started to work there, when Tom Kraft came, and of course Elmo Greer and G.W. Griffin, the Griffin family and the Greer family had controlling interest in it. And actually our bank moved from East Bernstead. I don't know whether you know that much of history about the banking industry, but it moved to downtown London and was named Second National Bank.
I'm somewhat familiar with that.
And what happened, the reason the name changed at that particular time is because you could only get a state or federal charter in a community or county that you were domiciled in, you lived in. And they talked about regional banking at that time, and we thought we ought to take advantage of changing our name, and we changed it from Second National to Cumberland Valley because we lived in the Cumberland Valley area district.
That's right.
And therefore we named it Cumberland Valley National Bank, and have been ever since.
It's a household name now.
Yeah, it is, and of course a tremendous growth there, and there's a lot of the banks come in and developed since then, but First National was the oldest that was established here. I worked hard at that particular time. They wanted me to get the trust powers for the bank. Of course, I went to a trust school in Sinclair, up in New York's Sinclair Trust School, and then I came back and worked on getting the charter for the trust powers for the bank.
Okay.
So it's called Cumberland Valley National Bank and Trust Company.
Okay.
Then, of course, talking more about banking, after I worked
Is that
there,
something you were interested in while you were teaching, or just out of the blue?
well, I tell you, I only had one course in college, even though I majored in health and physical education. I've got a business administration degree also. I taught first here at London High School, and I taught economics, I taught business law, I taught Kentucky government, which is back then called civic. I taught general business for people who learn all this stuff.
So you were familiar with
how banking
industry works.
So they asked me to come to work at the bank. Because I was getting offers from a number of other cities to come and coach their football teams.
Right.
And so when that happened, I said, well, my financial opportunity is better, I think, in this than it is in coaching. But now, boy, you see what salaries coaches are making nowadays, especially in college. It's unreal. But anyway, we stayed here, and I went to work at Second National Bank, of course, Cumberland Valley. Then after working there 14 years, Jim and Judy Rose, who had controlling interest in the bank, London Bank and Trust, we had good board members, Charles Elza and Charles Young and Don Young. A bunch of them were real good. Dr. Paul Smith was on our board, who is also, him and Ann are residents here of our facility.
Is that,
you know, he was an
and by the way,
doctor.
You live at Village High. You're talking
This is Village Heights.
Yes,
we have 3 facilities here.
Beautiful place.
Laurel Village, Village Heights, and Laurel home for the elderly. Laurel Heights home for the elderly. But anyway, these people were very good and allowed me to do the things that I felt was necessary to grow the bank, grow the assets of the bank, and to service the people. And so many times I run into people that I have taught and coached that still refers to me as that, and then others as a banker, the times that I had helped them with their needs and their things that they wanted. So I had a good opportunity to help them. And that was one of my missions, of helping people.
I know it has been all your life.
Be successful and have a good family life. You know, I worked hard all my life. I dedicated a lot of my time, sometimes even deprived my family of the time, to be a good public servant.
Absolutely.
And of course, I think it's been very rewarding, and of course God put us here for a mission, and I feel like that my mission was to serve.
Absolutely, I agree with that 100%.
I don't regret it.
I can relate to that as well.
Now, I retired, I can spend more time naturally with my family, even though they're all, grown. But we were sports-minded. My family, of course, being an athlete and getting a full football scholarship, 4 years in college, and playing and lettering in 3 sports.
Which is unheard of now.
No, it's unheard of. You only play one sport, and then that's it. But anyway, we've had a good life here in London, Laurel County, and proud to be a part of it.
Now, London Bank and Trust was, it went from that to National City, now it's PNC, but it was I can remember when it was some of the plate glass in London, in the Carnaby Square, just down on the end, right down through there. That was, to us, London Bank and Trust. That's where that started, and then evolved into the building.
And that's when
now it's named after Jim Rose, the building, the beautiful building.
That's when they hired me to come to work there.
Yes, that's my memory of that. Yeah.
And we was down there in the shopping center, and then of course we started the plans to build a new bank, and of course that's the bank that
beautiful building there.
Jim and Judy.
The landscape of downtown London is beautiful with those banks.
Oh, it is.
It really is. It's neat.
Well, you're talking about buildings now. I had a part in a lot of the structures here. In fact, I've got all the records right here showing that. At Cumberland Valley National Bank, I oversaw the construction there.
Wow.
Mac Heiser was our contractor out of northern, I think Wisconsin up north, and we did that building. It's called Cumberland Valley. So we built and designed and built the big bank that Jim's name now bears, the Jim Rose building. And we grew that bank tremendously until we merged with National City. And National City was a Cleveland firm, national firm, and then of course I retired in '98, and of course, the name was changed because they sold out to PNC.
Right.
PNC is now, of course, up there on Main Street. PNC no longer exists there. They've moved out to our branch. I oversaw all the construction of that branch bank out there. Oversaw the construction, naturally, of that bank building up on Main Street. While I was judge, I helped get money and oversaw the construction of the expansion of the existing courthouse, county courthouse. I was a project director of the judicial center there. And of course, we can be thankful to Congressman Hal Rogers for getting us money for the parking garage, which covered the whole block down there on Broad Street.
Yes, absolutely.
Oversaw all that construction there of that building. Of course, I've been on the Health Department board for years, and of course, by being county judge executive, by virtue of that, I was the chairman of that. So I said, we need a new health department building. So I got the bonding for that, and we built a new health department building. All of that out there on Whitley Street, not far from where
I live.
Where you live.
Yeah. I walk by it just about every day.
Okay. But those things I've been part of and instrumental in trying to bring things forward for our people in our county.
Well, when you retired from the banking industry, now we've touched a little bit on politics, but what did you just get bored and say, now I want to get busier than ever and jump out into the political arena? Because I know, I mean, your retirement didn't last very long.
No.
And a guy like you that is used to just go, I imagine that you didn't, but did you have aspirations for that, or did you just think, I just still want to serve?
Well, really, I had a number of people that I had served over the years, working with county government, city government, state government, and I had so many good prominent people come and ask me to run for a political office. Well, the first one was against Albert Robson. Albert's a good friend of mine, and I went and told Albert, I said, Albert, I've got a lot of people want me to run against you and so forth, and for different reasons, and I gave him some of the reasons, so forth. But naturally, being a registered Democrat all of my life.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. This is that's a tough egg to crack in this county.
It's extremely tough. I tell you what, I said, well, I don't play much the political game. I try to take care of people, whatever their needs are, whether they're registered independent Democrat or Republican, or whether they're black or white, or whether they go to church or not, or whichever church they go to. I said, if they have a need for me to help them, and I can do it legally, and they don't ask me to do anything illegal, then I'll help them.
I can relate to that, Lawrence. But now, your first foray into the political arena, you weren't successful.
No, that was against Albert Robson.
And you tried again, though.
Well, I tell you what, whenever I got beat by Albert, I went over the 4 counties, and it was so strong in this district, about 75 or 76% of the people were registered Republican. And I knew it was an uphill battle. I had a lot of people who knew me here in the county, but outside, no. But anyway, I got beat. But I tell you what, some very prominent Republicans came to me and told me, said, if you will run for county judge executive, we'll try to help you get elected, and we'll keep you involved with some of the development that you've already done over the years to continue. Of course, I was...
what year was this?
That was in 2003, 2002. We went in 2003 as a judge.
Okay, so you ran your first...
Yeah. Okay. And I was successful, and really I owe it to the people here that were registered Democrats, Independents, and Republicans that put me in. And of course, I was the first one elected in 100 years. I think it was 2000.
I wonder
1903 or 1904 was the last Democrat that was elected to that.
Well, now you had to have all the Democrat votes. You had to have all of them.
They weren't very many.
But you needed a bunch of Republican votes as well.
And there's Republicans that told me that they'd never in their life had voted for a Democrat. They voted for me. And I was so honored. I am still honored for the people that comment and come to me and say, I voted for you, and it makes me feel good. But, I was reelected for another term. So then I got beat by Judge David Westerfield, who's well known, a lot of family members here and so forth. But and I wish him the very best in the county to improve doing the things that we've done before.
Right. But weren't you at work? Actually, I don't know if you were in your judge's office at the time. You're bound to have been. You were at work when the big explosion, the McKnight apartments there. You were actually that was of the evening at late hours in the evening, and you were privy to that.
Whenever I was at the bank,
I was
there that night working in my office doing things when that explosion happened. That gas explosion happened. Now that explosion happened when I was working there, but the explosion that happened down at what was it, that out on American Greeting Card Road, Certainty.
Yes.
I was in office right at that time.
Okay.
So I don't know which explosion you were
No, I was talking about the one downtown.
Downtown was, I was in, we had already built the building, and I had a conference room in the back and was sitting there in the back on the conference table.
I didn't realize it had been that long ago.
Yeah, and so that explosion happened right down behind us there. Boy, and I can tell you, it just brought me up out of the seat. It didn't do any damage to our building, but it did all those others.
Yeah.
But the other explosion that I was talking about was whenever I was in office. Certainty exploded down there.
I remember that as well.
And did a lot of damage, and of course hurt a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so we did a lot of things to try to help there to retain those jobs, and we did.
Well, you were successful because obviously we grew jobs.
Oh yes, yeah, we were constantly. Dennis Carr was a good person and a good judge, and after beat him in the election, he became our executive director of the Industrial Authority.
Absolutely.
And he helped with getting a lot of jobs here with the different facilities that we got out here in the industrial park.
Absolutely.
But we all worked together as a team.
That's what it takes.
And we were all good friends, even though we ran against each other. Nothing was.
You have to leave all that behind you.
That's right.
If you're going to go forward, you have to leave that stuff behind.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So now, naming names is always tough, but let's talk about some folks that come to your mind that were big in the evolution of Laurel County history that have already passed. I said early on when we started this series, I'd love to have some kind of sit-down interview with my grandfather, Vic Williams. He had, because I know the stories that he used to tell me about, and just little thing. He was full of little anecdotes, and here's what you should do and you shouldn't do, and here's why you should do it this way and not that way. And just he was a masterful teacher of life, But we lose that when they're gone. We retain it in here, but their words and stuff, we don't have all that captured on video. Now we have that possibility, and now we have the technology to do so, and that's what we're trying to do. A lot of folks have been influential in your life and in Laurel County. Name some of those folks, Lawrence.
Well, I want to commend you on doing these interviews, because like you said, things will be lost once our people pass on. That was instrumental in the growth and the things that they did here. But there were so many that really is in my life. I hate to really name a whole lot because I know that I would miss some, but there was Tom Craft, and I've already mentioned Elmo and GW, them that gave me the opportunity first going into banking there. And they helped a whole lot by allowing me, and Butch Little, I don't want to skip Butch because I mentioned him earlier that he was our president, and they allowed me to do a lot of things to bring growth to the county. But then there was Jim Rose.
Yeah,
of course.
I knew you were going to name him. That family I personally was close to then, and still am today. But that
you're talking about a man
that.
And he never did want much mention about him, but I know how the people that he had helped here in this county and on the whole region and the state. He was an excellent philanthropist to give and to help and to work And he worked hard himself. He was a hard worker. In fact, you can't believe the hours that I would spend with him at night. And you talk about an intelligent person.
Oh, a smart guy, yeah.
And how well he could talk and relate to people. You always learn from anybody and everybody that you're associated with. But I learned so much from Jim, and Jim and I are the same age, really. But you know, we had different lifetime experiences coming up, growing up. But we were very close friends, and
what a beautiful family! What a beautiful man he was.
So glad that they gave me the opportunity to work with them in the banking industry, which I spent total here in the county over 31 years. In banking, I touched, like I say, a lot of people and met a lot of people. But I worked hard at doing that.
Oh, absolutely. You know that. Yeah. So let's go to kind of a lighter note now. You and I were some of the first, and actually you were one of the original purveyors of the World Chicken Festival. You knew where I was going with that.
I'm cackling now.
And we were here for those early years and those early days. And you know what struck me, Lawrence, at that time is it didn't take us spending a lot of money to get people to come downtown for a good time. Do you think people were just that starved for entertainment back then? This was 1990, okay? Now, obviously, things are different now, and you can't get those kind of draws with the attractions that we had back then. But boy, those early days of that. I don't care who you are, if you love it, hate it, or whatever. Those of us who were involved in that, those were magical.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Those were magical. Yeah.
But you're talking about those days. You know, it took us a year. Of course, it would have been the 100th birthday of Colonel Sanders in 1990. We took a year to plan this festival, and I really didn't much want to be a part of it, but Ken Harvey and Deford McKnight kept on to me because they knew I had done a lot of events at the country club, downtown, out at the park. You cannot believe the book that I could write about all of these events. And of course, one of them is the big one. And I'm still on the board of trustees for the Chicken Festival after 7 years or something like that.
Yes.
But anyway, we got to planning, and I tell you what, I told them I'd come to the first meeting. Well, I went to the first meeting, but I said I'm not coming back. But I tell you what, the three of us had so much fun talking about trying to develop that I came back the second time, and boy, I got hooked on it, and then we cackled.
It took off. Yeah.
But anyway, we
whose idea was it to put it downtown?
Me.
Okay.
I tell you what, they was talking about the park and these other places, Levi Jackson or the fairground, and I said, no, let's try to do it right downtown. I said, because this is on blacktop, we won't have to worry about mud or anything if it happens to rain. And but we knew that we had US 25 coming right through Main Street. Well, it so happened that my good friend that I went to college with was transportation secretary.
Okay.
So I went to him and asked him, would it be possible? He said, you request it and we'll get it granted.
Okay.
Well, that, good friend. But anyway, we had to go to the city.
You have to use pool where you have to use it.
Every meeting you have to go before the city council and get the approval. Each year to close Main Street. Of course, every Thursday night we close off.
Part of Main Street for Thursday Night Live,
And whenever
and a lot of bigger cities do those events. 4th Street Live in Louisville. They're closing that off that's just one example of many. They do it all the really big entertainment places. Austin, Texas does it, and the list goes on and on. So yeah, that's not all that unheard of. But at the time it was. At that time it was. Yeah. People didn't do that.
Right. Well, in front of the courthouse, of course, I was the one that drew up the design to have that big area there where we could have outside events in front of the courthouse, and then had the Veterans Monument put up there for people. Yes. But anyway, a lot of those things I was involved with and helped raise the money for it. But the Chicken Festival, we had a hard time convincing people what it'd be like downtown. And we started trying to get enough electricity for the booths and so forth. Came up with a lot of ideas. Had some good people involved with the heading up each committee and so forth. As you well know, you've been a part of it.
Yes.
And then after the first year, well, actually, the first year, we had people that didn't want to put any money in it, give us donations, so forth. But it's very labor intensive setting that up.
Oh, absolutely.
And but we went ahead and did it, and then once that people started coming downtown and seeing what was happening, we had open hands. People started bringing money to us to put on bigger shows.
Right.
And it grew from that. And every year it's just been a thing that people loves to come to and enjoy. And it's a family-oriented type of festival.
It is. And very family-oriented festival.
And then we decided that we wanted no outside firm coming and doing the concessions. We wanted all of our nonprofit organizations have a chance to raise money. And I said, if we do this and bring these churches in and the school clubs in, we're going to get all the family followings. We're going to have a natural crowd our first year. And so it happened. And people started buying this stuff, and they started making money for their programs and the facilities.
My opinion on that is that's something that a lot of people don't even think about when it comes to World Chicken Festival, is the localization of it, and the groups that actually you're buying there are vendors there. You know, you're buying your funnel cakes from so-and-so's youth group, and you're buying your Pepsi from so-and-so's AAU ball team or Little League team, or their summer camping trip, or just youth activities and church groups and so many things. But those aren't the things you think about, carnival rides and entertainment and this and that. But that is the single most, I think, probably the biggest thing about the Chicken Festival that keeps it afloat every year and going on every year, is that if you mention, well, maybe it's just too much trouble and a lot of people downtown are tired of it and this and that, if you say anything negative about it, there's always that, but these people survive off of it. They pay these kids way for this summer camp. Or this helps that AAU ball team that wouldn't be able to go, and these kids wouldn't be able to go. That helps this church group. That helps this one. That helps that one. And when you look at it, the big picture like that, that at the core is what it's really all about.
That is exactly right.
You can sacrifice 3 or 4 days out of the year, whether you love it or hate it. And let's face it, people have a love-hate relationship with it. You know.
Oh, yeah.
But whether you love it or hate it, that's who you're helping.
But it's all free, and you never will imagine the number of families that had little kids that could not afford to do some of these things that we would get tickets for them to ride on the ride, that come to me and said, we can't afford these things, but you all have made it affordable here for us to come free and see all of this entertainment. And we appreciate you and your family, what you all did, the number of years that you all did the gospel singing and bringing so many great groups in here. It's phenomenal. It was great, and it's still great.
Yes, it is.
It's good to see the people come and enjoy it.
I agree. I always enjoy it. I always enjoy it every year. I'm on the other side of it now, where I can go and just kind of, check it out. And the other people do it now. So, but we paid our dues there.
We certainly have.
Yeah, we did. So, but it's been good. Well, Lawrence, it's been a pleasure.
Well, Kip,
it really has.
I appreciate
this is what we're trying to do, preserve history. And I think you got a lot of good years left, Lawrence. You don't mind to tell your age. You're 81.
No,
81, right?
I'm proud. I thank the Lord every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be 81 in October.
You're pretty sparky 81-year-old guy, buddy. I hope the Lord blesses me.
It certainly he has.
Yeah, that's who you have to give credit to.
That's right, exactly right.
So, but anyway, I've always admired you, always look up to you, and I appreciate your time today, Lawrence.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Okay.